I have been married to my husband for 5 years. We've had ups and downs like any couple, but lately, things have felt off. He's been glued to his phone, smiling at texts he won't show me, and guarding it like it's a national secret. My gut told me something was wrong. Now, I'm not the snooping type. I believe in privacy. But when he left his phone on the kitchen counter and went to shower, it buzzed. A message preview popped up. It was from my best friend, Lily. It said, "LOL, you're bad. Are you sure you should be saying this stuff?" My heart dropped. I unlocked his phone, I know his code because, well, we are married, and scrolled up. I couldn't believe what I saw. My husband had been texting Lily, flirting with her, complimenting her looks, saying she was so much more exciting than most married women, and even joking about how, if things were different, they'd be perfect together. He even said he sometimes wondered if he married the wrong best friend. I felt like someone punched me in the stomach. The worst part? Lily had not been encouraging him. She would laugh it off, change the subject, or just not reply. She wasn't flirting back at all. That hurt even more, it was all him. Instead of confronting him right away, I decided to call Lily. I needed to know if she was hiding anything. She immediately answered, and when I told her what I saw, she was furious. She said she was uncomfortable, but didn't want to cause drama between me and him, so she stayed silent. That gave me an idea. I asked her if she would be willing to help me teach him a lesson. After some hesitation, she agreed. We decided she would reply to his next message, but this time, she would pretend to flirt back. Not too strong, just enough to make him feel bold. We wanted to see how far he would go if he thought he had a chance. That evening, while he sat in the living room, he got a text from Lily. He smiled, completely forgetting I was sitting across from him. He started typing furiously. A few minutes later, Lily sent me a screenshot. My husband had just suggested they grab a drink together, just the two of them, and added a winking emoji. I felt sick. But I wasn't going to cry. Not yet. Instead, I told Lily to say yes. Lily agreed to meet him, but only because we had a plan. They set it up for Friday night at a trendy bar downtown. I told Lily to act normal, but not actually flirt in person. Just let him dig his own grave. Meanwhile, I was going to be there too. Hidden. On Friday, I watched from across the bar, tucked into a booth with a hoodie pulled low over my face. I had my phone ready to record if needed. My husband showed up first. He looked nervous but excited, checking his phone every 2 seconds. When Lily walked in, dressed casually, but still beautiful as always, I saw his whole face light up. He stood and hugged her a little too tightly, holding on a little too long. They ordered drinks. I couldn't hear every word, but I could read the body language. He leaned in. He touched her hand. He laughed way too hard at everything she said. Then he did it. He said something, and I could tell by Lily's face, it crossed a line. I couldn't stay hidden anymore. I stood up, pulled off the hoodie, and walked straight toward them. His face when he saw me. Priceless. He looked like he had seen a ghost. His mouth opened and closed but no words came out. Lily stayed calm. She sipped her drink and smiled at me like we had planned. I sat down at their table. Having a good time? I asked, my voice sweeter than honey. He stammered, I thought you were working late. Clearly, I said, you thought a lot of things. The silence was suffocating. He kept glancing between me and Lily, like he couldn't believe this was happening. I leaned in close, lowering my voice so only he could hear. You wanted to flirt behind my back. To cheat. Now you can watch it all fall apart, right here. He looked like he wanted to sink through the floor. Lily placed her drink down and stood up. She gave him a cold look and said, "You don't deserve her." Then she walked out. And I was left there, staring at the man I thought I knew, wondering what the hell I was going to do next. He tried to speak, but I raised my hand to stop him. "Don't," I said quietly. "Not here." The bar suddenly felt too small, too loud, too full of strangers pretending they didn't see our disaster unfolding. I stood up and walked out without another word. He followed me into the night like a lost puppy. "Please," he said, grabbing my arm. "It was a mistake. I didn't mean." I pulled away. "You didn't mean to meet up with my best friend behind my back. You didn't mean to flirt like some desperate teenager." He looked desperate. "It didn't mean anything. I was just confused. You know how stressed I've been." I actually laughed. "Stressed?" I said. "So you thought hitting on my best friend would relax you?" He winced. "It wasn't like that. I swear. I wasn't going to do anything." "Not tonight," I said, "but maybe next time." He was quiet then. Too quiet. That silence told me everything. We stood there in the cold for a long moment. Cars passed by. People laughed somewhere down the block. But for us, the world had narrowed down to this, the shattered thing between us that could never be whole again. "I just want to fix this," he said finally, voice small. "Tell me what to do." I looked at him, really looked at him, and realized something important. Maybe he was sorry. But he wasn't sorry enough. And he wasn't the man I thought he was. "I need time," I said. "Away from you." He opened his mouth like he wanted to argue, but for once, he didn't. He just watched me walk away. And I didn't look back. Not once. I didn't go home that night. I didn't even know where I was going when I started walking, but somehow I ended up at my sister's apartment on the other side of town. She opened the door in her pajamas, took one look at me, and pulled me into a hug without asking any questions. For the first time all night, I let myself cry. The kind of crying that doesn't make any sound, just broken gasps and shaking shoulders. She didn't say anything. She just sat with me on the couch, rubbing slow circles on my back, letting me fall apart. When I finally pulled myself together enough to speak, I told her everything. About the bar. About him. About how I wasn't sure who I was married to anymore. She listened. Really listened. And when I was done, she said, "You don't have to decide anything tonight. You're allowed to just breathe for a while." And so I did. I crashed on her couch, still wearing my jeans and jacket, too exhausted to care. Sleep didn't come easy. My mind kept replaying everything, the way he smiled at my best friend, the way he tried to downplay it, the way I realized I didn't know him the way I thought I did. When I finally drifted off, it was almost morning. My phone buzzed around 7 a.m. I ignored it. It buzzed again an hour later. And again. I finally checked it around 9 a.m., my heart sinking the moment I saw his name. 15 unread messages. 4 missed calls. 2 voicemails. All from him. And then, right after those, a message from my best friend, the one he had been flirting with. I stared at her name on my screen for a long time before opening it. Her text was short. "I need to tell you something. It's important. Please call me." I sat there, phone heavy in my hand, feeling like the ground under me was about to shift again. I didn't know if I had the strength to hear what she had to say. But I knew I had to find out. One way or another. I sat there for a few minutes, just staring at her message. My sister came into the living room, carrying 2 mugs of coffee. She set one down in front of me and gave me a look that said she wasn't going to push, but she was here whenever I was ready. I took a deep breath and finally called my best friend. It rang twice before she picked up. "Hello." Her voice was shaky, like she'd been crying too. I didn't say anything at first. I didn't trust my voice. "I'm so sorry," she blurted out before I could even speak. "I didn't know how to tell you. I should have told you sooner." My heart dropped. "Told me what?" She hesitated, and for a second all I could hear was her breathing on the other end. Then she said it. "He's been messaging me. 4 weeks. Maybe longer." I didn't respond. "I swear. But I didn't know how to tell you without hurting you." I pressed my fingers against my forehead, trying to stop the pounding inside my skull. "What do you mean messaging you?" I managed to choke out. "Flirty messages," she whispered. "Things he shouldn't be saying. He even asked if I ever thought about being with someone else. If I ever wondered what it would be like with him." The room spun a little. And I told him to stop. I told him it wasn't okay. But he kept finding excuses to text me. There was a lump in my throat so big I could barely breathe. "And last night," she continued, her voice breaking, "when he was drunk at the bar, he told me he loved me." I closed my eyes. I felt my sister's hand gently rest on my knee. She didn't know what was being said, but she could see it was bad. "I'm so sorry," my best friend said again. "I didn't want this. I never wanted this. I didn't respond to him because I love you, not him." I sat there, feeling like the world was tilting sideways. All those late nights he said he was working. All those random smiles when he looked at his phone. All the times I thought I was just being paranoid. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overreacting. I was just being lied to. Over and over. And now I had to decide what to do next. Because one thing was for sure. I couldn't go back to pretending everything was okay. I hung up the phone without saying much more. I couldn't even find the right words to end the conversation. I just sat there, staring at the wall, while my sister quietly cleaned up the untouched coffee. After a few minutes, she sat back down beside me and asked softly, "What are you going to do?" I shook my head. "I don't know." But deep down, I did know. I couldn't live with someone who could look me in the eyes and lie so easily. And worse, make me doubt myself, my instincts, my sanity. I spent the rest of the day in a strange fog, barely speaking, barely eating. My sister stayed close, giving me space, but making it clear I wasn't alone. Around 8 p.m., I heard the front door open. I stiffened on the couch. My husband called out, "Babe. I'm home." His voice was so casual, like he hadn't been breaking my heart behind my back. I didn't move. I just waited. He walked into the living room, a grocery bag in his hand, like he had brought something home to make dinner. He froze when he saw me sitting there, my face blank. "Hey," he said slowly, setting the bag down. "Everything okay?" I just looked at him. And then, without thinking too much, I said it. I talked to her. I watched the blood drain from his face. He opened his mouth, closed it again. "Talk to who?" he asked, but his voice cracked, betraying him. I stood up, feeling strangely calm. Stronger than I had felt in days. "My best friend," I said. "You know. The one you've been messaging." He stumbled back a step like I'd slapped him. I can explain," he started. I laughed. A sharp, humorless sound. "Explain?" I echoed. "Explain how you were trying to cheat on me with her. How you told her you loved her." He paled even further. "Please," he begged, reaching for me. It's not what you think. I was drunk, it didn't mean anything. I stepped back, out of his reach. Funny, I said coldly. You sure sent a lot of texts for something that didn't mean anything. He looked desperate now, panicking. It was just. I don't know, a stupid fantasy, he said quickly. It wasn't real. You're my wife. I love you. I stared at him, trying to see the man I had once trusted with my whole heart. But he looked different now. Smaller. Pathetic. And suddenly, I realized. I wasn't the weak one for trusting him. He was the weak one for destroying it. I crossed my arms and said quietly, "You need to leave." His eyes widened. What? No, please, baby, we can fix this. We can go to therapy or whatever you want. I'll block her. I'll do anything, just don't throw us away. I didn't say anything. I just pointed to the door. He hesitated for a moment, looking like he might fight me on it. But the look in my eyes must have told him everything he needed to know. Without another word, he turned, grabbed his keys, and walked out. The door slammed behind him, and the house fell into silence. I stood there, breathing heavily, feeling like I had just ripped out a piece of myself. But even through the pain, for the first time in a long time, I also felt a tiny flicker of something else. Freedom. The night dragged on, but I didn't cry. I didn't call him. I didn't check my phone. I just sat with my feelings, letting them settle, one heavy layer at a time. By morning, there was a knock at the door. I already knew it was him. I peered through the peephole. There he stood, disheveled, desperate, holding a small overnight bag like a kid who had run away from home and changed his mind. I opened the door just enough to look him in the eye. He started speaking immediately, rushing through his words. I didn't sleep. I swear to you, you're all I want. I'll do anything, babe. Anything. Please. We can fix this. Don't give up on us. Please. I listened silently. And then I said the words I never thought I'd say. I'm not giving up on me anymore. He blinked, confused. You gave up on me a long time ago, I said. When you chose to betray me. To humiliate me. He opened his mouth, but I shook my head. I'm done trying to fix something you broke. I handed him an envelope, divorce papers I had already printed overnight. His hands trembled as he took them. This isn't you, he whispered. You're not like this. He was right. The old me, the one who forgave too quickly, who ignored the warning signs, who put everyone else's feelings before my own, she was gone. I looked him straight in the eye and said, it is now. And then I closed the door. This time, for good. I leaned against the door, heart pounding, tears pricking the corners of my eyes, but I wasn't sad. I was free. Truly, finally, free. And as the sun rose higher outside my window, I realized something. This wasn't the end of my story. It was only the beginning.